Newly released video appears to show a Ukrainian naval drone targeting a Russian warship. The Russian Defense Ministry said a drone attack had been foiled at a naval base in the Black Sea port of Novorossiysk. Another video later showed a damaged warship being towed away. And Russia also says the defense minister has met senior Russian military commanders in Donetsk in eastern Ukraine. Fierce fighting is taking place in the region. It's not clear when Sergei Shoigu was in the city of Lyman. He last visited combat areas in June, and that was following the mutiny by Wagner mercenaries in southern Russia. Well, Petro Poroshenko served as the 5th president of Ukraine from 2014 to 2019, and he's joining us now from Kyiv. So thank you very much indeed for being with us on Al Jazeera. I want to ask you about the drone attacks, the one that we've seen on the ship and on the Russian ship, but also previous ones we've seen recently on buildings in Moscow. I know Ukraine has made its situation, has not made its situation regarding those particularly clear. But what do isolated drone attacks on Russian ships and individual Moscow buildings serve for Ukraine?
I cannot comment the attack on the individual Moscow building because we don't have a confirmation from the Ukrainian authorities. But definitely I have no doubt that the Russian warship who attacked Ukraine is a legal war goal, a legal military goal for Ukrainian armed forces. And I'm proud that it is me, who was Supreme Commander-in-Chief of Ukrainian armed forces, create the armed forces of Ukraine based on the NATO standard, and we have an opportunity to defend Ukrainian territory, Ukrainian sovereignty, Ukrainian territorial integrity. And given the legal assessment, this is the self-defense target.
With regard to Ukraine's much-documented counter-offensive, do you have confidence that Ukraine's government is able to get the support that it needs from NATO members and other foreign governments around the world, particularly when it comes to air security, for example, because that seems to be a region where foreign governments are particularly pushing back? Are you able to achieve what you really want when it comes to asking foreign governments for help?
First of all, I want to tell you that I returned back from the battlefield, from the front line, just a couple of hours ago this morning. And yesterday I was the whole day together with our paratroopers, with our Marine Corps, with our artillery specialists, and I want to deliver you that Ukrainian troops has a very high moral spirit, and I have no doubt about the perspective for the counter-offensive operation of Ukrainian armed forces. This is point number one. Point number two, we have during this almost 18 months of the war, of the full-size, full-scale war, because we have a war since year 2014 and my presidency when we defended Ukraine this long 5 years. So now we have a confirmation from our partners. US, Great Britain, European Union, NATO would be together with us until our victory. Listen once again, not until the end, but until our victory. And we have significantly improved situation with the ammunition. We definitely count to receive the air defense. We definitely count, and now in August we will launch the special training courses for Ukrainian pilot for the F-16. And I just want to deliver you information that this is not a Hollywood movie. And this is not doing like that. And for every success of Ukrainian army, this is a great effort, great sacrifice of Ukrainian soldiers, and we understand what does it mean for the whole world. We stopping the aggressor. We do not give ability of Russia to attack freedom and democracy in the whole world. And I want to appreciate to all of our partners in the West, in the South, in the East, including our partners in the Arab world and the Middle East, for supporting our efforts to peace, because you cannot find out any nation in the world who want a peace more than we Ukrainians, because every single night we have a Russian missile attack on the civilian object, Russian missile attack on the object of the critical energy infrastructure. And this is just demonstrating the new evidence that Russia provides the war like a terroristic state, and the Russian soldiers is a terrorist, and the Russian leader Putin is a war criminal. This is what we have the conclusion for the last 18 months.
There is a peace summit that's been arranged by Saudi Arabia. Ukraine has said it's going to be there, along with Brazil, India, South Africa. The US apparently is going to have a presence. There's an understanding that China is going to be there as well. The one country, of course, that's not going to be there is going to be Russia. What do you think you can achieve?
First of all, I want to thank Saudi Arabia for this important initiative. And I think that I hope, I keep my fingers crossed, that it helps us to create a reliable framework for the formalization of the peace negotiation. And the only one precondition for peace negotiation is to restore the sovereignty and territorial integrity on Ukrainian territory in the international recognized border. Very clear. All other things, all other aspects, including the global security, regional security, reparation, compensation, lifting sanction, all other things we would be happy to do. And the victory, how to motivate Russia to do that. First of all, we have one of the best diplomats in the world who is extremely effective in negotiation with Russia. And the name of this diplomat is Armed Forces of Ukraine. And the second point for the peace is the sanction. And if we cut the Russian cash flow, Russian export, to limit the ability to finance the war, this is another important thing. And Saudi Arabia, as a key player for the oil market, has an extremely efficient instrument in their hands. Third is that we are not talking only about the West. We're talking about the global South and the global East with the Asia, that they're also involved in this global crisis because of the Russian aggression. I am very much happy that the Saudi Arabia, as a regional leader, has a success for inviting India, has a success for inviting Brazil. And now I don't have the confirmation of this information, but I hear now in your TV show that China is also accept the invitation and will participate in this consultation. This is extremely important. I'm really hope, keep fingers crossed for, as a result of this summit, we will have a communique who make pressure on Russia to stop the war. And this is absolutely evidence that this war is not only about Ukraine, is not only about Europe. This is war about the whole world. Because now, because of the Russia blocking the Black Sea port of Ukraine with Ukrainian grain, can you imagine? 400 million people has a hunger in their nations. And only now, for the 15%, the price for the grain as a main food is going up because of Russia. And with that situation, that make worse the life of the least developed nation, the poorest nation in the world. And the role of the Saudi Arabia and the guest of your summit would be definitely very much important.
Over the last 2 or 3 weeks, we've seen Russia increasing the amount of aid and support that it's giving to a variety of countries around the world, not least, of course, African nations who were represented at meetings with President Putin. Just a couple of weeks or so ago, President Putin has been promising increased aid to them. One can understand the concerns that they themselves, as countries, have. How concerned is Ukraine that this aid and support from Russia could change the balance of support, if you like, or the level of support that Ukraine is getting in the conflict?
I have two recommendations. Recommendation number one, please don't trust Putin. If Russia said that they increased their support for the African world, this is simply not true. Russia wants to supply their grain, supply their fertilizer at an increased price for 15% and give some couple of dozens, thousand tons as a bribe to those leaders who come to Russia. Don't trust Putin. You will pay a highest price, and Putin as a KGB officer definitely make a lie. And second position, please don't be afraid of Putin. When we are together, when we are cut the Russian export, when we stop Russian ability to finance the war and introduce the sanction, this is the most efficient instrument how to lowering the prices for the food products in the world, and that would be the position how to support the least developed world. Putin understands only one language, and this is not Russian or German language. This is the language of strength, and I definitely hope that the meeting in Riyadh, meeting in Saudi Arabia will reach the results to speak with Putin with the language of strength. And this is the only language he understands, and this is the only language who can be effective in the pressure on Russia to stop the war, to bring the peace, to stop blocking the global trade, and to facilitate the life of the poor people in the whole world.
Petro Poroshenko, we appreciate you being with us on Al Jazeera, sir. Thank you very much indeed for your time.